Hi, it's Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky. I'm back with my plans and pans for the week. You know, this week, gunmen stole the 4th of July from millions of Illinoisans. Of course, I'm thinking mainly about what happened in Highland Park, this mass shooting at the parade that was happening, a happy day, families, people of all ages out on the street, cheering on not only the marchers that were coming by, but celebrating the signing of the Declaration of Independence that says that we are entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. People are now dead. Many are still in the hospital. It's over 30 people who have had injuries. But I want you to know that also in the city of Chicago, there were more than a dozen people that were shot. Doesn't get as much attention. It's not these kinds of mass shootings. It's the everyday shootings. It's all about the guns. I know I was on my way to a parade in Skokie, and we got word that the parade was canceled, not only in Skokie, but in 60 other places. The celebrations, the marches, the fireworks canceled, the beaches in Evanston shut down, all because of a 22-year-old who got his hands on an automatic weapon that could just take down dozens of people all at once. What is the matter with the United States of America? You know, people ask, what could we do? Could the police have done more? Could we have done more to see the signals about this shooter? Yes, probably we could have. Would we have been able to prevent it? Would we have been able to use the newly passed red flag law that says that people who are a danger to themselves or others cannot have a gun? Probably not yet. But why would the United States have 46% of all the guns? We have twice as much as the closest competitor, which is the Falkland Islands per capita of guns. It is crazy, and let's remember, people in other countries have people with mental illness, they have people with anger issues, they have people who may be prone to violence. They don't have the number of guns. So we did make progress. I reported to you last week. We passed a bill that was signed by the president, finally got the Senate to agree to some basic things on to end gun violence, but we still have not done anything to get rid of automatic weapons. We had an automatic weapons ban during the Clinton administration. It actually reduced the number of mass shootings. We could do that again. We must do that again. And so gun violence is about guns, and we as the people can do something about it. So I wanted to talk to you a bit about our Supreme Court. So it was mostly some bad news for this week, and some bad news for the Supreme Court. Now, a majority of Americans, 51%, say that the Supreme Court has a serious legitimacy problem, the kinds of decisions that they're making. And it is also true that the last 5 appointees to the Supreme Court were nominated by presidents that were not elected by the majority of the people. They didn't have the popular vote. And of course, the last 3 were appointed by Donald Trump, the last being appointed even as the election of Joe Biden was concluding. That's who's on the Supreme Court right now. They made a decision this week that the Environmental Protection Agency has just gone too far to protect us from fossil fuel emissions, and said that it would reduce their authority from having a national number that, like the Obama administration had on reducing carbon emissions, but it had to only just go state by state, making it much harder. And of course, we're still living with the fallout, and I'll talk more about that later, from the terrible decision to get rid of abortion rights and to overturn Roe v. Wade. But there is some good news. Ketanji Brown Jackson was sworn in on the Supreme Court. We're so proud of her and happy about her being on the court. She's a very powerful force. We hope that she can do some good, even in the minority of the court. But she was finally sworn in this last week, the first Black woman to ever serve on the Supreme Court of the United States. The other good news is that the Supreme Court actually did make a decision to allow President Biden's decision to end what is called the Remain in Mexico program that has actually kept 71,000 asylum seekers. It's legal to seek asylum in the United States in Mexico. And he said that that was a bad policy, that they should be able to cross the border. And the Supreme Court agreed that it would be illegal for them to be forced to stay in Mexico. So those are at least two good things, but the overriding sense of this court has been so devastating to so many people. On Thursday, I had a roundtable at the center on Halsted, a wonderful community center, mainly focusing on LGBT rights. And at that, this was all about the Supreme Court decision on Roe, and I had the Attorney General Kwame Raoul, I had State Representative Kelly Cassidy, and I had the ACL, a representative of the ACLU, Planned Parenthood, and the Chicago Abortion Fund, talking about what the future looks like, talking about Illinois, and reminding people first and foremost that abortion is legal in the state of Illinois, encouraging people, of course, that have appointments, that want to come in and set an appointment. They have abortion rights in Illinois and beyond, because there was discussion about how much is being done from people coming into Illinois, and how we might be able to help them, accommodate them. It's going to be hard because we think there's going to be a rush. And that's one of the reasons that the governor has called for a special session in Springfield this week. I didn't realize it was going to be so soon, that the House and Senate are coming back to discuss the kinds of ways that the state of Illinois can be helpful, what some of the challenges will be, and how we're going to be dealing with our fairly unique situation. Certainly we are the only state among the surrounding states to Illinois that do still provide abortion services. And thanks to the governor and the General Assembly, we are really a haven. We have the best laws in the country. At this panel also, though, I wanted to tell you, was an 18-year-old girl named Molly. Molly from birth has had a heart defect. She's had several open heart surgeries. But just days before our forum last week, she came and told us that the doctor told her that if she were to carry a baby to term, it would kill her. In other words, if Molly became pregnant, she would have to have an abortion. And she said, you know, I'm not a legislator, I'm not the head of a powerful organization. All I really have is my voice. And she was speaking for all of the everyday people who, for a variety of reasons, want to have an abortion. Now, some might say, well, if life of the mother is at stake, supposedly that's still legal. That has been interpreted that if you are not bleeding to death, if you are not in imminent danger of death, you do not count as the life of the mother being at stake. So Molly made it clear she would not qualify and she would be condemned to death. And so really the answer is as close, I believe, as the next election. We have an opportunity to pick members of everything, the House, the Senate, and the state legislatures all across this country, on who is going to make decisions for women. Are we going to be put permanently into second-class citizenship, or are we going to fight for our rights? But we could make a change if the House and the Senate, the House already one time did ratify abortion rights. The rights that are in Roe v. Wade were put into law in the House of Representatives. The Senate hasn't acted yet, but next session of Congress, it could happen. At that point, the Congress of the United States would put a bill on the desk of the president who would sign it, and the right to access abortion care would be the law of the land, because that dominates over what the Supreme Court has to say. And so everybody needs to get out to vote and encourage people everywhere around the country to vote. I just did also want to point out that one of the consequences of the current decisions is that 26 states right now are poised to limit or eliminate abortion rights. That amounts to 36 million women who are at risk. And so we really owe it to everyone, women, families, to do everything we can to restore this fundamental right for women to control their own bodies. And one last thing about abortion rights. The Department of Health and Human Services has a website called Reproductive Rights, those words all spelled out, .gov, where you can go and you can locate places where you can get birth control and where abortions might be available. There's a number of services that are listed on that website. I would urge you to check it out. Last week we heard some dramatic testimony in the hearing conducted by the January 6th committee from Cassidy Hutchinson, who was the aide to Mark Meadows, who was the chief of staff for the president then of the United States. What we heard from her was really damning testimony about Donald Trump. And the things that she saw, she was in the room when it happened. This is all firsthand information. And this 25-year-old young woman was so incredibly poised. And let's remember, this was a big job for her. She was supportive of Donald Trump and came into this job and then saw what she felt she had to report. And we heard about a quote from Donald Trump, who was fighting against stopping people from coming to the House of Representatives and destroying the Capitol building. So he said, this is what Donald Trump said: "They're not here to hurt me. Take the effing mags," talking about the magnetometers, "away. Let my people in. They can march to the Capitol front here." Really? This is what he said. He wasn't worried about the Capitol Police. He wasn't worried about the people inside the Capitol, staff and members and all the people who were so threatened. No, not to worry, he basically said. They are not here to hurt me. He wasn't worried about his vice president, who he said, deserved to be lynched. I mean, it's really amazing. But the other thing that he said was that Mark Meadows and Rudy Giuliani had requested pardons. So clearly, at the very end, they realized that they could very well be liable. So we weren't expecting this hearing. I think they wanted to do it quickly. Adam Kinzinger was in the newspaper today saying that there is more to come. He was saying that people should stay tuned for more about Trump's riot. And so, we are awaiting more information. And then we're also, all of us, I think most Americans are waiting. So what happens because of these clear crimes that have been have committed? And finally, on COVID, in some ways back to the Supreme Court, because one of the things really that Clarence Thomas said, that the vaccines that have saved literally millions of lives in the United States, and not enough, but around some places around the world as well, that they were developed from cells from aborted fetuses. So in other words, those vaccines were illegitimate because sometime in the far past, in the line of things that were used and developed, that fetal tissue, he said, I'm not even sure it's true, have come into the picture. So they're bad. But here's what's going on in COVID in Illinois. 28,286 cases in the past week in Illinois, including 74 deaths. We definitely want to see all those numbers coming down. The CDC reports 81 Illinois counties are now at the high or medium level of seriousness in the state. Cook County is listed as high right now. Be careful. Don't get rid of those masks yet. Dr. Allison Arwady, who is the City of Chicago health director, said that the Pfizer doses for young age group is only 1/10 as much as the vaccine that is for adults. So I just, a lot of testing has been done on these vaccines for little kids. So that's it for this week. Let's hope that we don't have any more tragedies. Be careful, enjoy this summer, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where my handle is @Jan Schakowsky.